Hi Capricorn, this is your July 24 soul story. If you've got a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, I hope these messages are going to help you. It's Romy. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. We're opening up this month for you with the energy of the Magician. It's definitely a turning point for you. Realization after realization just keep dropping all the way through this month, and I think there's even a part of you going like, how did I not see this before, or like, this all makes sense now. You didn't appreciate, I think, perhaps everything that was going on in the background, maybe from a universal perspective in terms of the hand of fate in your journey, but also even down to some of the more physical interactions, communications, and situations that you've been navigating, and just kind of what the additional sub stories were, so much of that kind of coalescing in a way that just brings context. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything's resolved in a way that you wanted. Nonetheless, it still gives you a sense of being able to draw a line. Yeah. Now Neptune stations retrograde in Pisces from the beginning of the month, and there's a stripping back, there's a dissolving going on here. That's why we start to see things for what they truly are. And yes, maybe some of the bubbles burst, and sometimes we have to come up with an adjustment. But even where you have that sleight of hand or that magician energy that's been wielding its way, perhaps in a more shadow aspect, this is the month where you get to see it clearly. And I think that puts you in a much more empowered situation. Now, the magician's also reminding you, I think, that, we got to use what we have, and we have to make it work for us in new ways. This might not be a time, or you might be in some way held back or limited in terms of what new things you can access right now. And there's an inward reflection that's reminding you of the treasure, the uniqueness, the significance of what you've accumulated thus far. And perhaps you've overlooked that, or perhaps you've forgotten. So as more and more of these planets station retrograde over the coming months, like, you're starting to kind of realize and really give yourself permission, I think, Capricorn, to start to integrate so much of kind of what's happened and what's unfolded for you. This is why I'm saying it's a huge turning point. You'll continue to be asked where your attention is going, and if it's in the wrong direction, expect to see the signposts or come up against those more uncomfortable conversations that, seem to take place between you and your higher self, you and your team of spirit guides, or even on a more practical earthly level, just feeling like something's not moving because you're not meant to be going in that direction. Sometimes when you're ready, but something's not shown up yet, the test here is like, who are you in the waiting? And there's a little bit of that going on in July, because I do see you sort of prepped and charged up and like, come on, let's get going, let's get moving, like, what's happening here? And it just feeling like not all of the pieces have aligned quite yet. There's definitely a destiny driven component to when something is supposed to be initiated or unfold. Now, King of Earth is coming through here. I like that, because along with the Magician, it sort of grounds in the alchemy. It's almost like we make something happen, and then there's a tangible manifestation that can come from it. So that new moon that arrives in Cancer on the 5th. Now, remember, we're in 7th house energy for you during this season, so quite likely there could be some emphasis around themes going on in your very specific relationships. Understanding, of course, this is mirror season, where a lot of shadow energy comes up, so things we don't want to necessarily own about ourselves, sometimes reflected and projected in the behaviour of others. Nonetheless, new moon in Cancer, I feel, affords you a time to make a powerful adjustment, to get creative with something. And it's important, I think, that you put it out there. There's something about the recognition, the expression, the marketing. The Magician wants something to be seen. He's trying to sell it. He's trying to show people. So keep in mind that, you could have the best idea or the best thing that's going on, but if nobody knows about it, then you're not going to see a lot of movement or shift or growth. When we arrive at the 9th, just coming out of that new moon, and by the way, I think around that time you'll come to quite a firm realization as well about something that holds value to you, that you want to materially improve. It could be connected to finances, your stability, your foundations, but there's a desire to want to improve upon something. How do I make this better is what I hear you saying. And you will, you're going to come up with a new strategy. In fact, the asteroid goddess Pallas Athena direct in Scorpio from the 9th is inviting us to have that transformative experience. And she comes with us, on this journey of saying, how do we apply the wisdom and create a better plan? And so the plan also has to take into account you trusting your choices, even when they go against the grain, even when they're not necessarily aligning with the status quo, right? Because, you've been in this interesting position where you're kind of being pinned between these two powerful full moons in your sign, right? Hanged Man tells us it sort of allowed you to, take stock and, come to a new understanding. You've had to turn something every which way and inside and out, perhaps even yourself, to sort of try to figure something out. When you come out of this month after your full moon settles on the 21st, you will have the answer, and things will feel like they are moving in that direction. But as a result of that experience, something major has been understood by you. The realization has landed. It's like you can't, put this back into Pandora's box now. And it's sort of like, once it's out, it's out. It's just going to like the gift that keeps on giving. So it's just like, okay, now I've got to follow this. Now I have to honor it and respect it and value it. And I have to keep, ensuring the validity of what I now know. And that will make changes in your behavior. Scorpio wants that absolute transformation and loyalty to the cause, and the focus, the intention, the absolute determination, I think, to be relentless in the pursuit is what Pallas Athena is helping us with. And remember, the strategy that comes forth for you, even if it's not something that everybody can get on board with straight away, or it doesn't necessarily feel like it makes sense or allows for enough compromise or allows for, all parties to be in agreement, if you're being directed in that way, you're being reminded, you may just have to explain it differently to them time and time again before it lands. But that does not mean that you don't choose yourself and that you don't allow for the progress that's calling you quite powerfully. Like I said, this is a turning point, Capricorn, when you do remember the power of your words, you're not just going to say anything. When you remember the power of your thoughts, you're not just going to allow yourself to think anything. And, when you know the power of your presence, you're not just going to be anywhere. That's what they say. And it's going to be ringing really true for you through the course of this month. Now, on the 11th, we've got Venus shifting into Leo, and then the 20th, Mars into Gemini. There's a really flirtatious, quite passionate vibe that can carry us through that middle part of the month. And you've got the energy of the Lovers. So you're on the charm offensive here. You can negotiate, you can talk yourself into situations, you can explain things really well, you can spark up interesting and quite intriguing conversations with people. A lot of this is heart-led with Venus and Leo. There's big gestures coming. You might even feel that there's a big gesture coming your way from someone else. You might be considering making a big gesture with regards to something. But we have the drive to be able to communicate and to kind of take something forth and be a little bit brave and bold in our actions. And again, I think, as we utilize that energy on the build up to that full moon in your sign on the 21st, you are coming into harmony and union with something. Now, you think there's two choices. Actually, I think there's a third. So be mindful as you come up to the 21st. If there's only two ways to look at something or you're trying to figure that out, hold fire, because maybe even at the 11th hour there might be something else that lands for you to consider, okay? And that one might just be exactly what you have been asking for, okay? The other thing I think to be mindful of is, if it makes you happy, it's not a waste of time, Capricorn. So, mid part of the month, if you're just not feeling it, if you are in a zone where you're like, I just can't find the mojo to do anything right now, or I want to actually go spend my time doing this, even though there doesn't seem to be any direct sort of output that would be beneficial for me at this time, actually that's exactly what you need to do. Your soul is calling you incessantly, pulling you forward powerfully at this time, and you want to take the time to listen. You know, Page of Earth says, in a way, I want to become the student again. Like, I want to understand something from a place of just feeling like I know nothing. And that can be a super beneficial thing to do in actually all areas of your life, especially where you've hit a wall, right? So even in a relationship, if you can't move past something, it's like, okay, if I was meeting this person for the first time, or if we were having this conversation from a fresh perspective with none of the water under the bridge, what would I be thinking? What would I be feeling? What would be the next logical question or the next logical step that I would take? I think embracing that kind of attitude is going to be super supportive. You also have an interesting offer coming your way. For some of you, it might be romantic. For some of you, an offer in business. But regardless, it feels like it's trying to bring you together with something that could be a good match for you. But you are the only one that truly knows whether it will be. Yeah, so you take the time to kind of sit with that, because they may not know how much you've changed, or how your vision or your desires or your goals and the things you're trying to achieve have shifted. And these full moons, you know, have really had and will have a powerful effect on you. So it's important that you just stop for a minute before you sign up or align or agree to anything, because the kind of drawing a line, the revelation and the release that's being asked of you in quite an epic way through the course of, you know, June, July, demands like a different approach. It demands a turning point. And so, you know, it's going to be down to you to communicate that, but you might still be in the kind of place of just processing like what that means. That's why you're going to have to trust in your choices this month, you know, even though messenger of air, even though you might have some hesitancy, you might be a bit reticent to rock the boat with regards to something. I actually feel like just being your honest, direct, full, authentic self is exactly what's needed to just kind of cut the crap a little bit and to actually ensure that you don't waste your time. Like, there's something coming in around that end of the month. It's like, don't waste my time. Don't want my time to be wasted. You know, it's too precious. Your energy needs to be conserved and directed towards those things that matter. And as the sun shifts into Leo, right after that full moon, you know, something is getting ignited. It's receiving a second wind. So if you have felt perhaps there's been like some sort of hiatus in regards to something, you know, you might feel like the shift of that energy coming back around full circle for you, and you're going to want some time to just kind of think through again what's going to be my next step in regards to this. You will communicate really effectively through the course of this month. Also be aware there'll just be a lot of stuff that you have to sift through that's just noise, you know, it's just noise. There's just like a lot of information overload. Remember, Jupiter Gemini now, so it's kind of par for the course. But, you know, specifically through this month of July, I just feel like it's not relevant is a phrase that you're going to have to keep sort of coming back around to and just be like, you know, this is not relevant to me. Move on. Like, don't get sucked into things, you know, and that's really easy to do if you don't have a clear intention or focus or desire of what you want to gain from this month, what you want to experience in this month. And I think, you know, there's a reality check that lands in July for you. But it's also one that can be really refreshing and cathartic and put you in this place where, as I said, you do get to explore things that make you happy, you know, even if others might say, well, that's a waste of time. It's not a waste of your time if it's, you know, bringing about an improvement to your well-being and your energy and your vibration. Now, remember, the end of the month, we've got Chiron stationing retrograde, in Aries. So our healing journey was back in the spotlight. Mercury in Virgo the day before also brings a bit of a critical note to things. So careful not to start to overly judge yourself in terms of where you're at, or when you see another pattern sort of resurfacing and thinking, oh God, here we go again. It's not that. You have changed. You have changed so much, but there's always that test. There's always that test to just kind of say, let yourself see for yourself how much you have evolved and moved on from this experience. What are you going to do different? This is your karma test. This is the point in time where you say, okay, like, I'm going to sit down. I keep getting all these realizations. Now I see it. Now I'm trusting in me. So now I have to do it different. And that's your big sort of, you know, exit point, I think, for this month, where you get to hold your head high and you get to be super proud and celebrate yourself and your accomplishment. That's again the combination of these epic full moons. You know, they're asking something deep of you, and it will reveal itself in a really important higher awareness if you allow it, says that Hanged Man. If you're new to the channel, Capricorn, we cover the remaining cards in my extended reading, so you can find the link in the comment and description box underneath. Talk for another 30 minutes or so about your month ahead, look at a personal and a relationship card for you. I hope you'll join me. It just helps me to continue to show up for the free portion of the readings. Just going to go ahead and clarify, see the direction we're going to take this for you for July. If you're new to the channel, please also check out my website, romywiser.com. Links are below. You'll find my sacred titles, my oracle deck, and my book, Moon Musings. Ways to work with me, also all my sacred soul support to help you on your spiritual journey. And all the cards that I use are always listed below as well. Okay, got a lot of wands, a lot of fire showing up to help you here. Love that Ace of Swords coming in. Another Page of Pentacles. There's an investment of some sort you're considering or debating making. Remember what I said about the choices, yeah, a couple of options, but there might be a third one that comes up that you want to hold on just to see, so you've got a better appreciation of exactly what's on offer and what's going to be the best fit for you, okay? Oracle. So this is Life Soul Vision, my own deck. Let's have a look, see what is coming through. Portals of possibility, I love that for you. Energy conversations, perfect. Mirrors of the mind. We've got Queen of Earth, nice. Full moon, of course we do, Capricorn. Earth star energy, these feel very aligned for you this month, beautiful. Okay, let's pull one more oracle for the month of July for you. Let's see. Blessings, nice. Okay, thank you. We'll explore this in the extended reading. Have a great month ahead. I will see you again next time. Thanks for being here. Your support and investment in the channel means the world. Appreciate you. Bye.